What if the stuff we're most afraid of becoming is exactly what we need to face or even embrace to grow? It's a weird idea, right? Becoming the thing you fear. So, for the next few minutes, let's dig into that. Why we're scared of certain versions of ourselves. What happens when we confront those fears? And how it might actually set us free. Stick with me, this one's gonna get deep. First off, let's talk about what that thing even is. We all have these shadows in our heads, versions of ourselves we dread turning into. Maybe you're terrified of becoming a failure, someone who never gets it together. For me, growing up, I was petrified of becoming invisible. You know, that person no one notices, who just fades into the background. I'd watch people with big personalities and think, I can't let myself shrink like that. Or maybe for you, it's something else, becoming selfish, bitter, or even too comfortable, like you've stopped growing. These fears aren't random. They're tied to who we are, what we value. What's yours? Take a second and think about it. What's that one thing you'd hate to see in the mirror? So, why do these fears grip us so hard? It's not just about looking bad, it's deeper. You need to let what you fear happen. Because when you do that, you're then going to realize, I'm still here? Wait, life is still continuing? Because before that, all the fear that you have, all the fear that is built up behind going after the thing that you want, in your mind, you told yourself that if I fail, life will end. It is the end point. But in reality, you're good. Failing is part of life. Failing is inevitable, right? So if you become the thing you fear, you no longer let that fear control you anymore. It's personal. And society doesn't help. We're bombarded with messages about who we should be: successful, bold, perfect. So when we imagine slipping into the opposite, it's not just scary, it's shameful. A few years back, I remember stressing over every little choice that I've made, terrified one wrong move would turn me into that nobody I feared. You guys ever felt that? Like one misstep could lock you in to the worst version of yourself. It's exhausting carrying that kind of dread around. But here's where it gets interesting. What if we stopped running and faced it instead? Because the thing you fear doesn't mean surrendering to it. It means looking at it square in the eye. Maybe you fear failure, which back then was a huge stopping point for me. That was something that I faced very often in my life. The thought of failing, a feeling that I was not willing to embrace, a feeling that I never wanted to experience because I didn't know how to deal with it. All that was tied to it was negativity every time I thought about it. So if you fear failure, try something small and let it flop. Mess up on a recipe, miss a deadline, whatever. You'll see it's not the end. It's just a moment. Facing it strips the fear of its power. Now here's the twist. Sometimes stepping into that feared thing is how you beat it. It's like in those old myths where the hero has to become the monster to win. I had a friend who was terrified of becoming selfish, always putting others first, even when it burned them out. One day, they said no to everyone. Took a whole weekend for themselves. They thought they'd hate who they become, but instead, they'd found balance. They didn't turn into a jerk. They just learned to value themselves. For me, letting failure dictate my success and who I was as a person was no longer a thing. I totally flipped the script on how I thought about failure now, to where I now welcome it. Now I have this understanding that failure is part of the process, and the feeling of failure is not bad if you don't let it affect you for the negative. You have to have a positive outlook on failure. You have to understand that failure is giving you the answers to become better. So in reality, with me facing failure head on and looking at it from a different perspective, changed everything for me. So instead of pushing away failure and avoiding failure, because let me tell you, it is inevitable, whether you're going after the things that you want or not. So you might as well fail going after the things that you want. So now that I embrace the feeling of failure, it no longer is a fear to me. I now welcome it. And so if you can do that with any fear that you have in life, let what you fear happen. And then you will realize what you're made of. You will realize to yourself that it is not the end. But in your mind, because let me tell you, your mind will play so many tricks on you and will lead you to taking the wrong path in life. So tell yourselves those right stories. Always have a positive outlook on things. Always feed your mind with positive information. Never let fear creep in. So what if becoming your fear isn't the disaster you think, but a doorway to something stronger? So I'll give you guys an example. In high school, we had a public speaking class, and I didn't even sign up for the class, but we had to go up in front of the whole class and face them with a presentation. And it was where you were squarely facing the whole classroom. You couldn't look at the board or anything. And for most high schoolers, that's a pretty scary thing. Going in front of the whole class with your teacher telling you, hey, you have to make eye contact with people for most of your presentation and you can't just look down. And there was many scenarios where students froze up and didn't say anything. And the other students watching that person would just sit there in silence. So it would be the most awkward thing ever. Obviously, nearly everyone in that class was dealt with fear. Especially with me back then, I couldn't live with myself messing up on a presentation in front of everyone in the class. I didn't shy away from presentations after that. I told myself, hey, we're locked into this semester. We have no choice but to embrace this and do the best that we can. And so before every presentation, so I would prepare my ass off before presentation day every time. And every time the teacher asked, because everybody had to go up to the classroom, there was no choice. So every time the teacher asked who would like to go, I would be the first person to raise my hand every time. And I'd just go and go and go and do it because I was prepared. And even if I messed up, I knew that, hey, it's okay. Because here's a little trick. After you go, there's multiple other students that have to go after you. So most of your work will eventually be forgotten as soon as the next few people go up anyway. So you might as well go and get it out the way. And lo and behold, at the end of the semester, I got the highest grade in the class, all because I didn't fear the class. I just embraced it. I embraced the fear. I embraced the challenge. When you stop fearing that worst case self, you get to live bigger. You're not tiptoeing around anymore, scared of slipping into the abyss. It's liberating. Imagine you fear becoming a failure. What if you owned it? Tried stuff anyway, and realized failing's just part of being human. You take more risks, right? The thing you fear loses its teeth when you stop letting it define you. Life opens up. You're not dodging shadows. You're dancing with them. So that's my take on becoming the thing you fear. It's not about tuning into your nightmare. It's about facing it. Maybe even trying it on to find out who you really are. What's that fear for you? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. If you're struggling right now, if you want to reach your full potential, if you want to break out of those bad habits, if you want to break out of that negative mindset, subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Thank you guys so much and have a great day.